Today we have a PSA to try to get something a bit more clear and stop the current overreaction that has been going down because of certain messages being sent. Because apparently a group of people, right, has realized that trying to tell players about the Silver Moon Blood Elf civilian transmog somehow is going to draw less attention than talking about how World of Warcraft is coming to next-gen Xbox. And since we know that 87% of your average viewer or reader only ever stops at the title of a news article, that's what players are getting from. And that's what players, of course, have been using as a confirmation of the much speculated conspiracy about WoW coming to console, or rather Blizzard going for certain changes in the game fit for making this game more usable and playable on console. Namely, we're talking about the simplification of the game going down, starting from the specs, getting their abilities pruned and removed and whatnot, and then of course the death of most actually of the Combat Addons. So this is now essentially the official announcement, the confirmation that yes indeed WoW has been consolized. Well, there's a problem. Problem number one, the article that has spawned this is an article from Windows Central, trying to essentially preview the next gen of Xbox, which is already in itself not fully guaranteed, since Windows Central has no affiliation with Microsoft. Microsoft has no announcement to give out through Windows Central. They're not the spokesperson of Microsoft. It's basically akin to a fan site. Yeah, it's basically the Wowhead of Microsoft. It's just about the same level of official source. But even then, sure, it is the most regarded one. And in this source, they are saying Microsoft's ambitious new Xbox, your entire Xbox console library, with the full power of Windows PC gaming. And they go through and explain the changes that will happen of the next gen of Xbox, which will essentially be a hybrid. That is the main thing. The Xbox will feel like your traditional console, but with the base architecture of a Windows PC, meaning you will practically be able to exit out of your Xbox interface and go back in Windows, essentially use Windows software from your Xbox console. This is something that has already been done, right? Something like the Asus ROG Ally or the Ally X, basically handheld, technically Xboxes, practically PCs, is something that has been live and available already. And this will be the same except in a more stable, stationary version of a console. Now you can see from the way this reads that saying that WoW is coming to console with this is the same as saying as Paint is coming to console. League of Legends is coming to console. Football Manager is coming to console. That's the same thing. It's essentially a console that also has the architecture to work as a PC. So basically everything PC related can also come with this console. And obviously it will not mean that every single game now, because they can be loaded up through this new gen Xbox, has to be consolized, has to be made for the console, which is what players were fearing was going to happen to WoW, given the, I guess, the pruning and simplification that has been going down in these past few months. Some of the speculation could be a bit more interesting. For example, what is going to happen to the Xbox Gamepass and the PC Gamepass if you allow this new console to also have this Windows integration. Like, for example, okay, if we can play WoW on the console, but then this console also requires or wants you to buy some Game Passes, would we have to also buy the subscription to WoW at the same time? Maybe this will be the start of what people thought when Microsoft acquired Activision to get WoW on the Game Pass. So to essentially get somewhat like a discount on your subscription if it's now cooked into the Xbox Game Pass. That's a bit more of an interesting discussion to have. Or the other discussion about the price. Because okay, but if you make the Xbox also work with all of the PC games, because it's going to be practically a mid-range PC, then why are you buying an Xbox and not straight up buying a mid-range PC? You could also definitely see this as a step towards the future, even for other consoles, because at the moment no other company has tried to do this kind of multi-platform synergy on this scale before. Valve is working on their own game console, which is going to be Steam OS powered. PlayStation and Nintendo aren't really doing anything about this, so it might even be some kind of groundbreaking descent into the beginning of more consoles also having some kind of interaction with PC games. However, for us WoW players, the entire point of this article, these news, and the possible worry that would come from this is the idea, the confirmation that yes, this is the proof that now the game has been simplified, has been essentially made worse because of this. Right? This is what it all led to. This is what it all meant. We couldn't understand why we were getting our abilities taken away from us and all of our add-ons taken away from us. It must have been because of this. That is the PSA we have to have for today, which is, it's not. This is not what we meant. When we said we were going to grab our pitchforks and go against Blizzard for worsening, for making our game a worse experience because they wanted to turn this into a console game, this is not what we mean. We need a bit more than just this to consider these recent news from Blizzard for World of Warcraft specifically made for going on console. As we said, if the new Xbox console gen will work like this, every PC game will be a console game. We're not talking about something that is currently specific to WoW. We would have to start accusing pretty much every PC game making any kind of simplification for its users as an accusation for wanting their game to be more simple for a console, if we are using the same logic. On top of this, it would be a little bit weird for Blizzard to focus on consolizing the game, all of this effort, all of this feedback, negative mostly feedback from your own players, only to get this playable on Xbox, which has like less than 15% of the share of users compared to PlayStation and Nintendo. So you would be working hard to simplify your game for a very small slice of the audience. So we are using this just as a reminder. Yes, there is news that WoW is coming to console, if you want to put it that way. Yes, WoW will become playable on the Xbox, but that is not the kind of consolization we were talking about. Because the way in which WoW would work on this console is through Windows, because the new Xbox console will have Windows on it. Will basically be a split PC Xbox in the same interface. So it's not the same as calling WoW a console game now. When you go to a restaurant and order some pasta with some cheese, you don't call the restaurant a vegetarian restaurant, do you? No, there happen to be some dishes in that restaurant that don't have meat in it, that don't make the restaurant a vegetarian one. The same way, the fact that you happen to be able to play WoW on Xbox makes WoW a console game. The worry of course would have been if there was an announcement from Blizzard announcing that WoW was going to be playable on the Xbox, on the PlayStation. Why not? Why not even on the Nintendo Switch? Announcing extra added features of compatibility and user accessibility for the consoles now. Now, in that case, with that announcement, yes, we could start saying, so this is why we went through these kind of changes in the game now, because they were preparing to make the game more accessible for consoles. But with this kind of announcement, not yet. This is not enough to prove without a shadow of a doubt that all of these recent changes in the game were meant to consolize the game. Since at the moment, all of these announcements about the new gen of Xbox are telling us is that that will be a console game with a PC version on it, rather than being a console that has PC games consolized for that platform. So yes, we have some news talking about WoW coming to console. No, it's not that WoW has been simplified, skimmed down, stripped down to make it playable on console. So at least for now, I'm afraid you have to, put those back. They are dangerous. Put them back. Put your pitchforks back in the shed for now, because this is not the kind of announcement we have to get outraged about, at least for now. This was the announcement, the public service announcement we had to go for today, after these news about this compatibility of WoW with a future yet to be seen future console. So for this, on this Tuesday, we can be done with each other. We're starting our goodbyes by thanking everyone for having watched the video, together with, of course, everyone else who has been supporting completely for free by liking and commenting down below, as well as subscribing to the channel itself. Now, with these things out of the way, thank you guys again for watching. See you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, I've been scammed. I've been told my delivery arrived at 11:56 a.m. I was at home, alive and alert at 11:56 a.m. There was no delivery.